Denny and his wife Victoria lived in a cozy, modern house on the outskirts of New York City. Victoria was the kind of woman who turned heads wherever she went. With her tall, statuesque figure, long legs, and a waist so slim it seemed almost unreal, she was the epitome of beauty. Her thick, chestnut hair cascaded in soft waves over her shoulders, and her deep brown eyes radiated warmth and kindness. Her high cheekbones and full lips gave her the look of a classic Hollywood starlet. Denny often joked that he had married a goddess, and he wasn't far from the truth. But there was one thing about Victoria that always intrigued Denny: she had an identical twin sister named Alice. Denny had never met Alice in person, though Victoria spoke of her often. Alice lived in Los Angeles, and the two sisters hadn't seen each other since Denny and Victoria's wedding. According to Victoria, Alice was her polar opposite in personality. While Victoria was modest, reserved, and a bit of a homebody, Alice was wild, adventurous, and always seeking thrills. Despite their differences, the sisters were incredibly close, and Victoria often shared stories of their childhood antics. Alice, though slightly shorter and more athletic than Victoria, was just as stunning. Her toned physique was the result of her love for yoga, Pilates, and hiking. Her light, slightly wavy hair was often tied in loose braids, and her bright blue eyes sparkled with mischief. Alice had a magnetic personality, bold, confident, and unapologetically herself. Denny had seen photos of her, and he couldn't deny that she was beautiful, but he had always been curious about the real Alice. What was she like in person? Would she be as captivating as Victoria made her out to be? One spring evening, Victoria left for a week-long business trip to Chicago. Denny, feeling a bit lonely and bored, decided to go out with his friends to a local bar. The place was packed, with loud music blasting and people laughing and chatting. Denny, usually a responsible guy, decided to let loose for once. He ordered a few drinks, and before he knew it, he was feeling the effects of the alcohol. The world seemed lighter, and his worries melted away. He laughed with his friends, danced a little, and enjoyed the carefree atmosphere. By the time Denny stumbled out of the bar, he was thoroughly drunk. He fumbled with his keys as he tried to unlock the front door of his house. The place was dark and quiet, with only the faint rustling of the curtains breaking the silence. Denny leaned against the doorframe, trying to gather his thoughts. His heart was pounding, and he felt a strange sense of anticipation, as if something was about to happen. As he made his way to the bedroom, he noticed a figure sleeping in the bed. In his drunken state, he assumed it was Victoria, who must have returned early from her trip. Strange, he thought, why didn't she call me? He approached the bed, his heart racing as he looked at the sleeping woman. She looked so peaceful and vulnerable, her hair spread out on the pillow like a halo. Denny, unable to control himself, leaned in and touched her shoulder. "You must be tired, love," he slurred, his alcohol-clouded mind unable to process what was happening. The woman stirred slightly, mumbling something in her sleep. Denny, emboldened by the alcohol, climbed into bed beside her. He wrapped his arms around her, feeling the warmth of her body against his. She smelled like vanilla and lavender, just like Victoria always did. In his mind, there was no doubt, this was his wife. He kissed her neck, his hands exploring her body as she began to wake up. She murmured something in surprise, but Denny was too far gone to stop. What followed was a whirlwind of passion, a moment that felt like an eternity. The next morning, Denny woke up with a pounding headache. The events of the previous night were a blur, but as he slowly opened his eyes, he realized something was wrong. The woman lying next to him wasn't Victoria. It was her twin sister, Alice. His heart raced as he stared at her, trying to process the situation. In his drunken state, he hadn't noticed the subtle differences between the twins. Alice's hair was slightly lighter, her features a bit sharper, but the resemblance was uncanny. Alice stirred, stretching lazily as she woke up. She turned to look at Denny, a mischievous smile playing on her lips. "Hey, Denny," she said, her voice soft and teasing. "What was that last night? I have to say, I didn't expect to wake up next to my brother-in-law." Denny's face turned bright red. "Alice, I didn't realize it was you. You look so much like Victoria. I'm so sorry." Alice laughed, her eyes sparkling with amusement. "Well, this is quite the surprise. I came to visit my sister and decided to crash here when she wasn't home. I didn't expect to end up in bed with you." Denny buried his face in his hands, feeling a mix of guilt and confusion. "This shouldn't have happened. I didn't mean for things to go this far." Alice leaned closer, her tone playful. "Well, since it did, maybe we should just go with the flow. No need to overthink it. Denny sighed, feeling a strange sense of relief mixed with guilt. You're right, let's just see where this goes. Alice winked, her confidence unwavering. Don't worry, I won't tell my sister. As long as we keep this our little secret. I've always been a bit jealous of her having such a handsome husband. Now it's my turn to share. Denny couldn't help but laugh, realizing that Alice's boldness was both terrifying and exhilarating. He knew things would never be the same, but for now, he decided to embrace the chaos.